Lovers, lunatics and poets are made of same stuff. Life is live its own, others' help is needed in funerals only. But man's duty is to try and endeavor, success depends upon chance and environments. Merciless criticism and independent thinking are the two necessary traits of revolutionary thinking. I am a man and all that affects mankind concerns me. Philosophy is the outcome of human weakness or a limitation of knowledge. Love always elevates the character of man. It never lowers him, provided love be love. Every tiny molecule of ash is in motion with my heat. I am such a lunatic that I am free even in jail. The sword of revolution is sharpened on the whetting stone of ideas. Bhagat Singh in court during his trial, India's struggle for freedom. I deny the very existence of that almighty supreme being. Criticism and independent thinking are the two indispensable qualities of a revolutionary. Rebellion against king is always a sin according to every religion. Revolution did not necessarily involve sanguinary strife. It was not a call to bomb and pistol. Revolution was the vital living force indicative of eternal conflict between life and death, the old and the new, light and the darkness. Yes, it was perhaps Upton Sinclair that wrote at some place that just make a man a believer in immortality and then rob him of all his riches and possessions. Do you ask me how I explain the origin of this world and origin of man? All right, I tell you. Charles Darwin has tried to throw some light on the subject. Study him. Religion is the outcome of human weakness or the limitation of human knowledge. Self-reliance is always liable to be interpreted as vanity. It is sad and miserable, but there is no help. One friend asked me to pray. When informed of my atheism, he said, "During your last days you will begin to believe." I said, "No, dear sir, it shall not be. I will think that to be an act of degradation and demoralization on my part. For selfish motives I am not going to pray." Readers and friends, is this vanity? If it is, I stand for it. The man should either begin to think himself a rival of God or he may begin to believe himself to be God. Do you really know the most cursed sin in this world is to be poor? Yes, poverty is a sin, it is a punishment. Love always elevates the character of man. It never lowers him, provided love be love. But man's duty is to try and endeavor, success depends upon chance and environments. All the capitalist governments are not only not going to help any such effort, but on the contrary, suppress it mercilessly. Then, what will his evolution achieve? Riches and superiority by the help of these theories. Yes, it was perhaps Upton Sinclair that wrote at some place that just make a man a believer in immortality and then rob him of all his riches and possessions. He shall help you even in that ungrudgingly. You go against popular feelings, you criticize a hero, a great man who is generally believed to be above criticism. What happens? No one will answer your arguments in a rational way, rather you will be considered vainglorious. Its reason is mental insipidity. Merciless criticism and independent thinking are the two necessary traits of revolutionary thinking. As Mahatmaji is great, he is above criticism, as he has risen above all that he says in the field of politics, religion, ethics is right. You agree or not, it is binding upon you to take it as truth. This is not constructive thinking. We do not take a leap forward, we go many steps back. King's salary. It is inhuman to talk of £1,000,000 a year, paid out of the public taxes of any country, for the support of an individual, whilst thousands who are forced to contribute thereto, are pining with want and struggling with misery. Government does not consist in a contract between prisons and palaces, 14 between poverty and pomp. It is not instituted to rob the needy of his might and increase the worthlessness of the wretched. One friend asked me to pray. When informed of my atheism, he said, "During your last days you will begin to believe." I said, "No, dear sir, it shall not be. I will think that to be an act of degradation and demoralization on my part. For selfish motives I am not going to pray." Readers and friends, is this vanity? If it is, I stand for it. We become pitiable and ridiculous when we imbibe an unreasoned mysticism in our life without any natural or substantial basis. People like us, who are proud to be revolutionary in every sense, should always be prepared to bear all the difficulties, anxieties, pain and suffering which we invite upon ourselves by the struggles initiated by us and for which we call ourselves revolutionary. Nonviolence is backed by the theory of soul force in which suffering is courted in the hope of ultimately winning over the opponent. But what happens when such an attempt fails to achieve the object? It is here that soul force has to be combined with physical force so as not to remain at the mercy of tyrannical and ruthless enemy.